Howdy, lieutenants and economists.
The most volatile, evil, disgusting things on the planet, humans. If you have a video request, you can always go to assholeconsulting.com.
Yeah, I am gonna charge you, kids. And that is the importance of not fucking up.
You are such an asshole!
Hello, children. assholeconsulting.com, where I, the world's only professional asshole and America's older brother, will tell you, kids, everything you need to hear because your parents just too damn lazy and they didn't want to tell you the truth because they didn't want to hurt your fifis. Dear Mr. Clary, I saw your video on dating advice for young men. Could you do one for young women? I'm 23, I majored in nursing, and I only have a little debt left over from college. I also work out every day, so I know you say to stay attractive and have sex with a man, but there are so few real men out here for women in our 20s, it's hard to find them. I want a traditional life where I get married and have kids before I'm 30, but there just aren't any good men in my age group. They're either in debt, living at home, or they are partying it up as dude bros. You put the good dude bros, just the dude bros. P.S. Thanks for all you've done. Your book, Worthless, made me change my major from social work cringe to nursing. God bless you, Trey. Well, thank you. It's a nice. I think this will go into the box of mementos. I'm glad that we prevented you from majoring in a stupid subject, and now you're going to be. All right. We're going to do this two ways. We're going to take two approaches because you are rare. You're approaching. I won't lie. I'm not kissing your ass. You're approaching unicorn status. You have no little debt. You majored in a real field. You sound traditional. I said send me some pictures because a lot of you girls, I'm pretty. I'm like, no, you're not. And you're comely. You're no 10, but my main concern was that you were fat. That was my main concern. And you're not. You do work out every day. But the main thing, the reason you're different is that you're traditional. You want to get married before you turn 47 and you have your triple master's reserve assistant doctorate. And so you're different than the vast majority of women. So what I'm going to do is we're going to address general dating advice for general young women, and then I will address your individual situation because you're unique. But there are other women who are traditional. So we'll do common, we'll do cookie cutter, boring, standard, cheap consulting, and then we'll do unicorn. So consulting right there. All right, let me pull this up here. Oh, that's not it. All right, there we go. All right, so here's the 5 thing. I took a little bit of notes because I want to make sure we got them. And the bar, as I have said before in a podcast somewhere, the hurdle is so low that a fat wiener dog could make it. Okay? A fat wiener dog could jump over this hurdle. It's not that hard. It's not complex. I think I did a video not too long ago. Steve Harvey had some gal on with this mockable and lengthy and delusional list of requirements for a man. Men not only have really a simple list of 5 things, but if you get these 5 things, you're in unicorn territory. I'm not joking. I'm not saying that your competition is that bad. That if you just do these 5 things, you're going to be in the top, 5%. So the first one, as you can guess, is be thin. This is not an option. This is not debatable. Men are not shallow. That's how men are. You girls like tall guys, right? You guys like rich guys as opposed to poor guys. It's the same thing. And men are like, oh man, you like you. That's what it is. You're genetically programmed to like it. Men are genetically programmed to like thin women. So you have a choice. Do you want a man? Or do you want to eat a ho-ho? Do you want a man? Or do you want pizza? What do you love more? Do you love food more? Then go love food. Go. Think about this philosophically. And empirically, we see this. I mean, you could just look, and the men are guilty of this too. What do you love more? Your spouse or your loved one, your significant other, or food? And you can tell empirically that both men and women in this country prefer to love food more than they love their spouse or their significant other. It's disgusting. It's appalling. Just go to Walmart. It doesn't matter if they're walking. That woman and that guy loves food more than they do each other because they're fat. They're gross. They're disgusting. So if you want to, and men put a tremendous, the ultimate amount of value. The number one thing is if you're beautiful. That's the number one thing. Men, don't tell me about chubby. I don't want to hear that. We're talking the mentally healthy males. We're talking the mentally healthy males. That is the number one thing. It's not the only thing. There are going to be multiple critical requirements. It's just one of 5. All right? But like the brain is the most important organ in your body, but it won't live without other organs. All right? Being thin, being beautiful is the number one thing in attracting a guy. And if you want to waste your life arguing against genetics of biological reality, well, then you might as well argue about the water being wet or the laws of gravity or that the speed of light is 186,000 miles a second. You can argue till your face is blue, no matter how much fat acceptance, no matter how many obese mannequins Target puts up in their stores. I don't care who they have on the television. Men want thin, attractive, shapely, beautiful women. And you can either agree with that and abide by that, or if you don't, and this is the point I was going to make, if you want to eat, if you really love food more, then go and enjoy food. Enjoy that life. It's kind of like cigarettes or alcohol. Look, if you're going to drink, you're going to smoke, enjoy it. Don't have the guilt. Don't have the guilt. Be somewhat hedonistic. Enjoy that life. Right? So don't rue or lament the law. You gotta find a guy. No, just go enjoy the food. Enjoy being fat. Enjoy, being a foodie or whatever you want to call it. Enjoy the food. Just don't lessen that life. But I need to find it. You're not going to get a man. Not one that you're going to really want anyway. So that's the first one. Second one, be nice. Okay? A guy will have sex with anything that, most guys most of the time will have sex with any girl that's good looking, even if she is a little bit crazy or a lot crazy. There are times where you will open your mouth and you will talk a man out of being sexually attracted to you, and my God, the words coming out of your mouth, it's happened to me a couple times, on the par of stupidity with Ocasio-Cortez and what she says sometimes. I'm not talking politics, I'm talking just like pure stupidity where you're like, okay, I don't want to do anything with that. But you need to be nice. You girls right now are trained to, I'll say it again, at best to be competitors with men, if not to be outright sworn enemies against them. Right? That is, no guy wants to compete. We don't want to spar. We don't want to tame the shrew. No, we don't like it when you play hard to get. We're busy with so much other fucking shit. Like, paying for student loans or working or making, We don't need another competitor, confrontationalist, hurdle, chore, shrew, thorn in our side, pain in the ass, burr in our saddle, monkey in the wrench. We don't need it. You need to be nice. You need to be nice. And by nice, just be feminine. For God's sake. The irony how feminism just hates femininity. My God, who knew that? The masculine likes the feminine. Who knew? Who knew? Dress pretty. I'm not talking, there's the sexy component in being thin and long hair and all that other stuff. But then there's also actually being feminine and being nice and supporting the guy. And deep down inside, you'll find out that, yeah, you know what? You do want. I know you've been trained. I know you've been indoctrinated. I know for the client, this is not it. This is for the normies, conformies, and sheep. There's nothing wrong with making a guy a batch of cookies. Nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with making him a sandwich. I know it's degrading. I know. All those old, pruny-titted, wrinkly vagina baby boomer feminist women who are miserable and ugly and have pissed away their lives. They told you that. I know. And you should totally grow up to be strong, independent women like that. And that any kindness towards a man is bad and evil and you're trading in the system. Fine. Then you will become like those aged, pruny-boobed, what is it? The egg sack of the spiders, dried up eggs. You go into the, how long has this been here? Since 1977. All right, that can be you. You too can have that fine outcome in life. Or if you really search down in your hearts and souls, you probably want a man. And there's nothing wrong with that. Don't know if you notice how they were created and our anatomy, but we're kind of made for each other. So you can either be confrontational and power-broking, roundhouse-kicking chick cop show, or you could just be a nice woman. Up to you. Just saying. 3, this is more for when you get into long-term dating or man. That's, I'm assuming, what you're aiming for, because you said you want to be traditional. There's a rule. Support or silence. There is no other option. Now, I'm not saying you gotta sit there and be quiet and you just sit there barefoot. That's not what I'm talking about. It's basically don't nag. And this is something that women do unconsciously. So if you want to be the top 5%, there's the guy. Support him. And if he's, I understand, if he's about to do something wrong, or there's like, whoa, you forgot about something, I appreciate it, because my GF, she catches me, like, what are you about there? I'm like, what do you want? Oh yeah, you're right. So guys, at the same time, everyone said, and yes, absolutely, constructive criticism. But do not, if we go this way, we're going to get there 5 seconds faster. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Is it important? Is it vital? Do not try to lead. That's when I taught ballroom dance class, it's along the same thing. You could tell who was the hen-picked husband and the wife wore the pants in the family, and they were not happy couples. They were not. And the wife would always try to lead. Always. Well, he's not doing this. He's like, lady, because you don't shut the fuck up long enough and let him do it. And it's not time for that to happen yet, because the beat of the music hasn't come along yet. You girls will support the man, or you can remain silent. Do not criticize him. Do not question him. Do not nitpick. Do not nag. There's a difference between constructive criticism. Well, how have you, we're fixing the car or whatever. I don't know. Oh, Sage, yeah, we forgot to put the plug back in. You're right, we got to do that. That's understand. But there is, and it may not notice it because you haven't been in a long-term relationship yet, but you will get into, and then you're going to think, well, I'm in command. No, you're not. No, you're not. And if you are, then he's handpicked. One lead, one follow. I don't care if it's the guy or the girl. Predominantly, typically, genetically programmed. Men are typically programmed to be the head of the household. You can argue with that all you want. No. It goes against everything you were told. There needs to be one lead, one follow. Okay? Sometimes the woman wears the pants. You've seen it. You've seen that happen where the guy is just he's the beta type. He succumbs to the whatever, dear. And there's nothing wrong. I'm not questioning that. You can't have two leaders. Okay? So usually it's the guy. Usually, traditionally, typically, sounds like you want a traditional. I'm telling you this is how you get traditional. The guy's going to go out. He's going to go make the money. He's going to go work on the car, whatever. He comes back. He doesn't want to hear, the garbage starting to stink. Yeah, the garbage is starting to stink. Why don't you take it out? Just support. That's it. Constructive criticism, yes, of course. Or silence. This is down the road after the honeymoon period is over. And there's a billion examples, but I mean, I'm going to get gas here. Well, gas is cheaper a nickel down the road if you just... Shut up. I'm going to get gas here. Leave me alone. That'll come later, though. 4, long hair. This gets back to kind of the be nice thing, but this is be feminine. Men like the feminine. Feminists hate the feminine, even though the Latin base, I think it's Latin, feminine is in feminism. Long hair. The most tragic, again, this is the long term. You talk about long, okay? The most tragic thing you can see with baby boomer women, they hit menopause, they chop that shit off. Well, it's just easier to maintain. Well, great. You wonder why men die earlier? Because there's nothing to live for then. I told you. The number one thing men want is female looks and beauty. And yeah, we're always going to be attracted to the 25-year-old hottie over our 55-year-old wife. But your wife, as you long-term, and even in the here and now, can still remain beautiful to her husband. And how do we do that, boys and girls? Long hair, long legs, big bazooms, and a tight ass that backs up into this. Yes, that's what men want. And it's not going to change. I wonder if McDonald's will stop serving burgers. So men are not going to change what they like in women. Now, I know long hair is a pain in the ass to deal with. I know that, ladies. To be beautiful is to suffer, some Italian actress said one time. It's too bad. It's too bad. Guys got to go. I mean, this is also presupposing men do their part to be in the top 5%. Men got to go to the gym. Men got to get drafted to get shot. Men got to go and fix the car and do a lot of other stuff like that. This is just a problem that you're going to have to deal with, ladies. You're going to have long hair. Do not pull the Meg Ryan thing on me. You say, well, Meg Ryan, I know this one girl. She has short hair and she looks... I'm sure she does, but she also would look probably 10 times better with long hair. So don't stop looking for exceptions to the rule. Just have long hair. And number 5, keep his balls dry. That's it. I think it's make him a sandwich, keep his balls dry, and stay thin. Those are like the 3 core ones. I added 2 more, long-term dating and all that. You just have sex with them. Okay? And it's not begrudging sex. It's not pity. If you gotta fake it, well, if you gotta fake, you're probably in the wrong relationship. But you go in there and you just pull down his pants and you give him a blowjob. All right? It's enthusiastic. All right? If he's asking for it, you are not giving it to him enough. I mean, this is talking ideal. I know you guys are all busy. Like, hey, when are we gonna? I mean, you're fine. But if it's kind of like, hey, what are you doing Tuesday? If you're scheduling it, then go find another guy. I don't care what you do. But you keep his balls dry. And if you don't, he's going to become frustrated no matter what. But then he'll just go find it somewhere else. Either through porn or he'll go find another girl. Although today, nowadays, at your age group in your 20s, you didn't tell me how old you are. I know you're in your 20s. Oh, no, here you're 23. At that age, I think they just go jerk off to porn. I think that's what they do. Almost the guys like, just rub one out. Fuck it. No, I'm not going to go to the club. No, I'm not. They're not. Most of that's another topic. All right, so those are the 5. Okay, you want to be in the top 5%. Be thin. Be nice. Support of silence. Long hair. Keep his balls dry. Now, if you want to become the top 5% of the top 5%, you can do these added 5 things, of which some are choices, some depending on your age probably aren't, but you want to be kind of moving towards this. But this is now your unicorn. You will get the Cappy certified unicorn badge, and you can put it on your resume and show it and show it with your credentials. All right, have no debt. Number 6 of this 10-point list. Have no debt. Have good finances. All right? Which is hard because a lot of you young, especially in your 20s, your girls are going to have student loan debt. That's fine. I mean, that's understandable. But don't have stupid debt like credit card debt or a stupid dumbass car loan. And this is where you girls, you go buy $8 flirtinis. And then you get, there's a brand new car, and then you got a lease, and you got a car loan, and you get your student loans, and then you become a financial liability. All right, so then you got to start aiming at the 50-year-old man who got shit tons of money and don't care about pissing it away, who will die way before you even hit 50, by the way, if you want to get married. But have good finances, specifically have no debt. 7, do not be a leftist. All right, you don't have to be a conservative or we're not asking you to be in some like 1950s housewife garb, although that'd be fun and sexy. Handing us a plate of lasagna. But you just cannot be wedded to the state. You can't have leftism as your religion. You cannot be voting for the government to take more of your future husband's, potential future husband's, and family's money when you need it to raise your own children, or just have it for yourselves. Save up for retirement. Pay off your house. Pay off your mortgage. Right? But if you're religion, I would almost say being a leftist, whether you're a feminist, an environmentalist, a socialist, a Marxist, a Democrat, a Labor Party, whatever. I'd almost say if you're that, then you cannot even find a traditional marriage. And I know you'll find leftist women marrying leftist men. That is funny. Where I see typically engineers marrying some worthless liberal arts major, and they just fork over all this money to the state, and then just fork over all this money to their wife, not for the kids, just for the wife. And the guy is maybe gets to keep 15 to 20% of what he actually worked for. I view those men as slaves. But if you want the traditional man who's masculine, who's tall, who's going to spank you in the ass and you're going to like it, that's not going to be Mortimer Snerd, who's a Silicon Valley nerd, who, what was it, University of Miami, they just had a walk where all the college boys wore red heels and did a mile in their shoes. Then maybe that might work where the woman is a socialist, and that's just not going to be fun at all. But to find a traditional masculine man, the world's most interesting man, a Clive Owen or whoever, you cannot be a leftist. You don't have to be a rightist. You don't have to be going to Republican or Libertarian meetings. But you have to love the individual more than you love the government. You have to love the individual more than you love, and a lot of women out there are like this, where the only thing they got is their politics. They majored in something stupid, they don't have a real career, but by God, I'm organic and I support the poor people. Okay, all right. You obviously love politics more than you love people. They're not capable of loving altruism, selflessness, dedicating themselves to one guy. So, okay, then go. Again, you want to be fat and eat a lot of food? You want to bow down at the altar of Marx and Ocasio-Cortez? Go and do that. You're just not going to have a traditional wife with kids and a husband. It's not going to happen. 8, major in a worthwhile trade or profession. And again, like I said, you're approaching unicorn territory. You're a nurse. That is awesome. That is great. That's a real legit degree. That's a real legit professor. And I hope you become a nurse practitioner and you make oodles of money. But it kind of related to having no debt. If you don't have a real career or profession, and I've seen it so many times. Here's this engineer. He's never gotten laid or rarely got laid. And here comes Bipsy. And she majored in early childhood education. She works part-time, essentially babysitting kids. He makes $90,000 a year. She makes $20,000, but she spends $75,000. You become a liability, not necessarily just financial, but also a familial liability. Where, okay, look, if you're going to have a career and profession, make sure it pays. Make sure there's a return on investment. But if it's just a hobby, which a disproportionate percentage of a lot of these degrees women are getting are, and then you go and you love your politics more than you do your family. A lot of women love their career, which is pointless and stupid half the time, more than they love their family. Men, if they're doing it right, and I'd say most men are, but not always, the only reason they work is to support the family. Their life is not work. Their life is the family. That's why they work. Like a lot of women have it reversed where their life is not the family, it's work. And you see this with a lot of women where they will have kids and they cannot wait to dump that kid off, to punt football it out and outsource it to daycare. They can't wait to get rid of that kid. Which brings up the question, why the fuck did you have a kid in the first place? And that's not a mother, and that's definitely not the quality and caliber real traditional men, which I presume you want, are going to want. It sounds like you want to be the stay-at-home wife too. You actually want to raise your kids. Who fucking knew? Your old school traditional men, who are of course patriarchal, evil, and oppressing. If they're looking for a wife to raise their children, they're going to look. And if you're like, well, I got to get back at my master's. I had a kid, but I'm dumping it off. I got a nanny. And it's like, wow, you dropped an infant off with a stranger at daycare. You didn't even want to spend time with the kid. You had to get back to your whatever. Social work job, nonprofit diversity reserve assistant, break glass in case of emergency, secretary, deputy secretary, diversity position. I can see if you're a surgeon and drop down, okay, there's a dentist, okay, some. But just to rush off and go back to work when your own flesh and blood is not outside, okay, that tells you that you view your own child, your own flesh and blood as a thing. Not a loving human being that needs you. And so real smart men, savvy men, clever men will observe that and be like, ooh. And then you'll be stuck with a sperm. You will. It'll be a sperm donor. That's what. Yeah, you won't have a husband. You won't have a human capable of love, and you're going to have a sperm donor. And then you can get divorced and also strong, independent. Don't need no man, fish, bicycle. All right, another one. Learn to cook. Kind of related. Be nice. Learn to cook. You don't have to be. You know what? You don't even have to be that good of a cook. You just have to know, like, maybe make 3 things. Think 3 things really good. Like, it's 3 favorite dishes. Like, you make it amazing. Like, for example, my mom makes the best. I say it, but this is the best stew. She makes the best stew. Stew? Yeah, something as simple as stew. My stepdad, he's happier than punch. The eyes, light up. You're making the stew? Gives man reason to live. If you want, you really... What percentage of women know how to cook in their 20s? What percentage of young women know how to cook? Better question. What percentage of women can cook that are in their 20s and won't find it degrading and will do it happily and willingly for a man? What the percentage of women in the 20s that know how to cook well? What, 5% maybe? Maybe 5? And of that 5, maybe there's 1% that won't find it degrading? If you simply... You can almost see, if you do the opposite of what feminism and feminists and your professors and your teachers and the media tell you, you'll become like the most sought after woman in the world. It's simplifying it a lot. But anytime, I don't cook for no man. If you do the opposite, I'm going to cook for a man. Well, you're going to... I had a buddy. Just think okay. Oh, he's an evil, sexist, misogynist. Hear me out. I had a buddy. She was a leftist. She was a teacher. But she also lived across the fire department at a town I won't mention. And she saw all these good-looking guys. They're working on the truck. It's summer. They got their shirts on. And she's like, damn. So what did she do? This is a leftist. This is a teacher. She put on a dress. She made a batch of cookies, and God bless her. She walked in. She says, hi guys, I made some cookies. Firefighters. She wasn't the best looking, but here's a gal in a dress with cookies. That'll get you in. Okay, you're a couple standard deviations to the right of the mean. All right, tell me more. I'm interested. What's your sales pitch? And she says, I got cookies. And the guy's like, yeah, all you married fuckers to the back of the line. God bless her. God bless her. I forgot about that. All you married fuckers to the back of the line. I don't know. She got a couple guys, but she made cookies. Oh my God, you made cookies. Something as simple as that. So you cook. And then, of course, number 10, this is mine. This is just me. Wear the fucking sexy lingerie. It's degrading, you get it. Wear the fucking sexy lingerie. Don't be showing up in your fucking sweatpants and don't roll over on us when you got mouth breath. Don't let, hey, do you want to get sexy? No. You only got your makeup on. You look like shit. You got bags under your eyes. It's 6 a.m. and you got your sweatpants. No, I don't want to have sex with. Who are you? You look like a guy. What in fuck's name happened to you? What was the girl I went to bed with last night? Put on the lingerie. Gussy yourself up. And as with kind of all these things, don't make the guy ask. Just do it. It takes, I'd almost say it takes half the value away. If a guy's like, hey, can you make cookies? Half the value is gone. Half that potential power is gone. Right? If a guy asks you for sex, half of it's gone. Right? If a guy, half of it's gone. So if you do it without prompting, you can double the efficacy, the effectiveness, the efficacy of these tactics and traits. Anyway, so the top 5: be thin, be nice, support her science, long hair, keep his balls dry. You really want to become a unicorn? No debt, or be working your way towards it. Not be a leftist. Again, don't have to be Republican or Libertarian, so have to not be a leftist and sucking the dick of the state. Major in a worthwhile trade or profession, cook, and wear sexy lingerie. That's it. That's it. All right? And even those last 5 are optional, although I'd say the leftist one is probably should have been thrown in the major one. Now, that's universal. Right? And I think you and the handful or the small percentage of traditional women probably already know that. And based on the pictures you sent, your profession, your decisions you made in the past, you know that. You're practicing what you preach. The problem is then for you traditional women is to find a real man. And I hear you and I feel you, because you look at modern day. Well, now it's, if you're under 30, you're a younger millennial, cringe, or you're Gen Zer, which I can't see any difference between the two. I don't know what the demarcation point is between the generations, but culturally, they're the same. And I'm sorry for you traditional women, you're just not going to find a lot of masculine traditional men, because men, just like you girls were not trained to be feminine or pretty or marriage material, neither have the men. The men have not been trained to be masculine, strong, successful, or marriage material in their own rights. You are 100%, yes, way too many men live at home. I looked up some statistics, writing a book now. The percentage of millennials that live at home is appalling. Appalling. I think the only time more men lived at home was during war. But in any case, the vast majority, they're not trained to be masculine. They're not trained to be financially reliable either. They're not trained to even be a head of a household. I don't know how you be a father and a husband when you just moved out of the house 2 years ago, and for the first time you're supporting yourself, or more commonly, you're out of the house but you're not supporting yourself because mom and dad keep bailing you out. Men also, but not to the extent of women, have also decided to major in incredibly stupid shit. So they have a lot of student loan debt. Their finances are bad. Worse, and I'll be intellectually honest, I criticize you women heavily about your finances. You buy the dumbest shit. You buy shoes and bags that are thousands of dollars. Men will blow their money on cars they simply can't afford. And to the extent, if you look at the statistics, car loans are now more than student loans for the millennials. If you look at the average portfolio of debt of a millennial, which I know is a little bit older than your generation, the car loans is a higher pie in that pie chart. And that's largely because dumbass boys fall for the propaganda and the marketing and come, I need to get a car to get the girls. And so men's finances at that age are not that much better, and they simply aren't mentally, psychologically, maturely, or financially, or professionally ready to get married and start spitting out kids. Okay? Just certainly not men under 30. All right? So, how do the handful of you traditional girls go find traditional men to start having kids before you're 30 if you want to have that traditional life and then kind of pursue a career afterwards and all that? Well, you got to get a little bit creative and change your tactics a little bit. All right? One, I will say that within your generation, if you want to stick with your age group, there are more men than there are women who are not only traditionally minded but are capable of providing for a traditional family. These are going to be your engineers and your IT nerds and your Silicon Valley guys. I've seen them. They exist. One of, not a common, but a not uncommon request I get is, Cappy, I'm 29. I didn't major in it. I went straight to programming out of high school. I make $180,000 a year. I got a house bought and paid for. What do I do with the $250,000 cash? Oh, by the way, yes, I fully funded my IRA or 401k or whatever else like that. There are more of those guys than there are girls. They're certainly not the majority of the population, but they exist. The problem is, as you are going to tell me, the majority of those men are not the best looking. And I understand that you women may not be as demanding, that men have a certain physique or looks, but you still have some standards. And I do acknowledge and realize that, yeah, you got to be physically attracted to the guy. And a lot of these guys are, the reason they went straight to program is because they were those nerds. They didn't play sports. They didn't work out. They're physically just not going to do it for you. You have every right to require and demand to be physically attracted to your husband. Still, there are some out there. What will happen occasionally is these guys, after they make all their money, After they get established, then they start working out, then they start growing physically. So what I would do is start looking for IT guys, start looking for engineers. Another group you can look at is military men. Guys who go into the military, they're more mature, they're more responsible, they're certainly more disciplined, and you have to have, in the olden days, you had to have a physical requirement, although now some of my military buddies, I'm like, you didn't get, how are you, don't you have to run? Don't you have to do like a pull-up? Because you can't even do one. How are you still in the Air Force? And then, well, it's the Air Force. Oh. Just giving you... So start looking at certain areas where I'm not going to promise you anything. But that's where you're going to have to go. So they're not going to have that. They're going to be financially stable. They're going to be a bit more disciplined. They will be more capable of getting married and having kids at that relatively young age. But keep in mind, though, vast majority of guys probably aren't ready to get married at that. That's another thing, and I'm sorry. I mean, they'll have the money, they'll have the finances, they'll have the career, they'll have the stability. But those guys typically sacrifice the fuck out of their youth so they can have what they have today. And they want to party. They want to spread their wild oats. They want to fuck as many women as they possibly can. They're probably not in the marriage mindset, which is another huge hurdle you're going to have to face. Men got the message loud and clear that you don't need no man, fish, bicycle, competitor at best, sworn enemy at worst. Men have gotten it very clear that you women are all about the work and the career and you don't want to get married. But so you're going to have to explain to them, I am a traditional woman. I mean, you even lead with that. Put it on your dating profile. I am a traditional woman looking to get married and have kids. And you can say, I'm not a feminist. I don't believe in divorce. Sell directly to the market you want to get to. Don't beat around the bush, all right? Don't you dare mention that you like travel. I like traveling and my dogs and partying with my girlfriends and music. There's a billion of them. I want to be a stay-at-home wife that will please you sexually. I mean, I want to, here, profile on your dating profile, hot June Cleaver wannabe. There you go. That'll pretty much describe it. You know, make it clear you want to get married and have kids, and that'll get rid of all the players. All the players will be like, I don't want that. Men are a little bit more forthright with themselves. The other thing, and this is the other tactic you're going to have to do, is you're just going to have to go older. And you're going to have to like look at older millennials, maybe even Gen Xers, where they have the stability, where they have the money, they have the house, but more so, they're probably done dating. They've had it beaten out of them, and they're either looking to settle down or they've gone ghost. They've gone MGTOW. And here again, you gotta know, because it's not just the Gen Zers that had it beaten into their heads that women didn't need no man, fish, bicycle. I'm a strong, independent woman. Get my master. That you weren't the only ones. This has been going on since the baby boomers. And Gen X men are also like, yeah, we got the message. And so they're going to be burnt out. They're going to be older. And there's pros and cons to this, more mature, more stable. But they're going to be I love me. Like, yeah, I'm out. They've gone ghost. So they may not even. So you're going to have to, if you find an interesting Gen X or an older millennial, you're going to have to try and resell him on the idea of marriage and kids. A lot of guys like me, we saw our old mans go through divorce. We're like, oh, fuck that. I mean, so you got to remember, Gen X especially, they were at the pinnacle of watching their parents get divorced. I mean, it was the fucking, what was it? The Colosseum in Rome. They're just beating the fucking shit out of each other and divorce all over the place. And, so they're going to be a hard sell. But at the same time, there's going to be some men who always deep down inside wanted to get married, who are not against it, but have also they've sowed their wild oats. They've dated girls. They know what a royal pain in the ass it is, and they're done. They're not playing the field anymore. They're like, no. Roosh is another perfect example of this. Let's use two Gen Zers or Gen Xers to display the two types. Roosh was a player. Spread his wild oats, realized it's royal pain in the ass. Now he's on a pro-marriage kick. He wants to or policy. Kick indicates the short-termism. He's on his policy now is he wants to get married and have kids and raise an army of pugs. On the other hand, the other type of Gen X you're going to run into is a Bernard Chapin, who he's gone ghost. I won't call him MGTOW because he's gone legitimately ghost. He just doesn't want to have anything to do with it. You could sell to a guy like Roosh. You're not going to be able to sell to a guy like Byrne. But just as rare as it is that there's these traditional girls under 30, it's going to be just as rare to find a guy who's open to marriage up above 30, who's dated seriously, who's a somewhat of a quasi-alpha male, or someone who's actually dated a little bit, because they've gone through, ask any Vietnam vet, hey, you want to go back to Vietnam? No. Ask a World War II vet, hey, you want to go back on Omaha Beach? No. Didn't you have fun with MG42s? You can look this all up later. But it's going to be an uphill battle. But you're just going to have to date older to find guys who have the money, capacity, maturity, mentality, etc., to get married and have a long-term relationship, have kids. But you're also going to have to maybe sell some guys who have been stung, burned, whatever, that don't want to have anything to do with it anymore. And then your own age group, again, they're just not ready, either mentally, financially, maturely. And even if they do inevitably want to, they're probably still going to want to play the field and have some fun. So it's a hard sell. It's a hard sell. Now, I hate online dating, and I've never done it. I've just seen it. Someone paid me to do Tinder one time. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? But for women, that's a bit different. And this is where if you're a traditional woman, your main advantage comes in. If you advertise that you are a traditional woman looking for traditional things, and you meet these 5 requirements, right off the bat, if you're physically beautiful, you already got a huge advantage. The internet will work for you. You have 2.8 billion men, I think, or 2.3 billion men that can find you on the internet. And if you're physically beautiful, you got them. You got them at that first part of the sales pitch where they're saying, "Tell me more." And if you lead in with, I'm a traditional woman, I want to find a traditional man, I want to inevitably have kids, I am not looking to date frivolously, and you say, must not be a leftist, and then you could start listing your requirement. Must be above 6 feet, must make 6 figures, must be able to support a family and kids, I will not get divorced, If you're very pretty, and you are, you're quite pretty, and you are traditional, and you lead with that, you can order from the menu. And I'd argue you do that anyway, because why would you say, well, I'm going to try and get a Big Mac, when it's like, well, you might get filet mignon. So put together a profile, be very clear with what your intentions are. Tell men, I'm not here to play, I'm not here to have sex frivolously or anything like that. I am looking to get married and have children. I have a timeline, and you do. All women do. You just seem to be the only one that's aware of menopause. Maybe that's what's confusing. When a lot of these gals, they think menopause, they think, oh, it's just on pause. I can hit the play button again, it'll pick up. No, you're aware that you're on a timeline. You're 23, dude. I think you'll find somebody just to give you hope. But for your other traditionalist sisters, if you are forthright with these guys, and then you have requirements, saying none of this, and you meet these 5 requirements, you will be able to pick the creme de la creme, right? Because more men will throw themselves at you, and you could just really, I'd be surprised. I should have seen if you had a dating profile. Well, then I'd have to have a login and username to see it. Well, you could send me a screenshot. It doesn't matter. You can afford to be 100% blunt and direct with men. And as well, I think have pretty high standards. Because the internet will send and sift millions of men your way. I think with the power of the internet and screening technology, you should be able to find a guy, multiple guys to date. We're all talking variables and checks list here, which is fine. That's fine. But that has nothing to do with actual love and chemistry and personality and all that other stuff. So this is just to get some candidates in the door. You're going to have to date a lot. You're going to have to date a lot to find the one that you're truly going to fall in love with and you want to get married. And you're going to have to sift through a lot. God almighty, a gal like you may have to train these guys who think they're Democrats or leftists, and you know, like, no, you're not. You know, like the importance of family over the government. You know, the importance of the individual over politics. But let's worry about that later. So there's your advice. That's dating advice for young women. If you want to get guys, you can follow those 10 requirements, and you'll get plenty of guys. Heck, if you're just pretty, you'll get plenty of guys. But if you want to get married, that's a little bit harder, and you're gonna have to advertise the fact. And you're going to have to be really good looking. Well, not really good looking, but you have to be meeting these requirements. And you're going to have to find those diamonds in the rough. You're going to have to find those guys that are not only good looking and meet the physical requirements and financial requirements and everything else that's required to become a good supporting husband and father, but also are in the mindset that are ready to get married, of which that is becoming an increasingly fewer and fewer men. All right. Glad we had that chat. Questions, answers, down below. ASOconsulting.com. I got to get to a thing. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.